everybody. So we back again.
What's up? What's up?
Yes, so we back again. Like we stated, this is our YouTube channel, Faithful Conversations. I think I actually mentioned Faithful Ministries last time, but it's Faithful Conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe God is doing something Faithful Ministries, but
Right.
we'll hold off.
Right.
But
Right.
once again, me and my husband, Rel, and I'm
Sub.
Lala.
Sub.
I'm really Latina, but most people know me as Lala. But
Mm-hmm.
we back again. It is evening here in Texas, about 9 o'clock. I'm pretty sure majority of our followers have kids, so spending everyday life, working, school. Now we're here, just
Yeah.
trying to be faithful to what God called us to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yes, with this first, second, more so, YouTube episode, we want to introduce ourselves. We don't want to get too much into depth because we want to, keep adding juice, keep having guys come back. But this technically first episode, we want to introduce ourselves. Once again, I am Lala, um, originally Latina. I am from Rochester, New York. I was born and raised there, but
Mm-hmm.
now
Rock City.
and let me just tell y'all, Papa have a whole bunch of junk to talk about Rochester food, but he don't know good food, Rochester food. But
Garbage plate. Really?
garbage plates was it. So he tried to talk junk about it, but we love our garbage plates. And our country sweet sauce that he also talked junk about. But yes, I'm from Rochester, New York. I am 35 years old. I have two boys plus a bonus son from Papa. But yeah, so yeah, baby, where you from?
Be more. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised. I'm 36 years old, and I have two bonus children
Mm-hmm.
and one son.
One son. And
I mean,
actually,
one. Yeah, one
we know
biological. I
what you're
guess you know
saying.
what
Yep,
I mean.
yep, yep. But our boys are our oldest is 11, and then Jackson and Josiah, they are 8. One's
There you
gonna
go.
be 9 in a couple of days. But yeah, Jordan being our oldest. But yeah, so basically, we come here because God has done so many amazing things in our life. I would dare not sit here and say that our life has been perfect because it hasn't
Far
been.
from it.
Far from.
Mm.
um there was once upon a time ago when we was living in this world, and I'm sorry guys, our background, the washer is going off, so I'm not sure if you can hear that. But there was once upon a time ago when we both was living back in Rochester, New York, where we met, and we were living our best lives,
Mm-hmm.
before God truly came to save us. But once God truly came into our lives and we, decided to surrender, that's when God truly started doing things in our life and just taking us back over, from the times when we were kids up until, young adults, and even being here and now, and just showing us that he has been faithful, and showing us
Mm-hmm.
that, he truly did not leave nor forsake us, so for me, even the things that God has showed me in dreams and visions that he want me to help set the captives free, or help those who are just, in bondage in their minds, so God has done some truly amazing things for me, for the both of us, but like I said, not getting too much into depth, but I'm just so grateful for, where God has brought me to and fro, um there had, with my life, there has been a lot of pruning that had to take place, back home. I had a lot of friends, I don't have much family, I have my brothers, my sisters, I was raised by my grandmother. I had my mom who, unfortunately was on drugs, majority, all of her life, but before she passed away, she decided to give her life to Jesus Christ,
Mm.
so I believe with
Hallelujah.
faith,
Amen
right?
to that.
I believe with faith
Mm-hmm.
that she is resting with Jesus. Like I said, not spilling too much juice, but was raised by, a man who I thought was my dad, but by love, he was my dad. But it pushed me here, so yeah, you want to go, baby?
Sure. That was good. That was good.
Thank
I
you.
think you left out a few crucial
important
parts. Yeah,
things
but
that'll come back to
it's
me.
all good. It's all good. But yeah. So as I said, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised. I was born in the '80s. I ain't going to specify what year. I don't want to tell my age. So I already said I'm 36, but I was born in '89, and
Hmm.
if anyone knows about Baltimore, it's a pretty rough city. So I grew up in the inner city, Baltimore, West Side specifically, um, to a single mother. I had two siblings, my
Hmm.
brother and my sister. So it was three of us and my mom. So it was a single parent household. My father wasn't really around much. He was absent. The times that I did see him was only the times that he would get a phone call because I was acting up, and he would come
Hmm.
over there and whip my butt.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much most of the times I saw him. So
That's I think that's a lot of black households.
yeah,
When it comes to dads, they may not show up for a lot of other things, but they're
they
gonna come
gonna
up to discipline you.
absolutely. Mom gonna call him quick.
Right. And back in the day, y'all, especially if you was born in I'll say the 80s and early 90s, parents used to come up to the school and whoop your behind. We
Hmm.
already knew what was up, but
Right,
anywho.
right. So like I said, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was a hardworking woman. I
Hmm.
remember she she always held several different jobs. She was in the military at once. She was in
Right, I
National
forgot you
Guard.
said that. Yeah.
She was also a correctional officer at one point, and I believe that's when she actually met my dad.
Mm.
Met my dad in prison, man. Oh,
Oh,
I don't know how.
mama.
I don't know what he said to her to get hurt, man. What? But yeah, she met my dad in prison. She had my sister first. She's the oldest. Then had me. I'm the middle, and then I had my brother. My mom was also addicted to drugs as well,
Hmm.
and it ultimately took her life, um, unfortunately, at a young age. So I lost my mom when I was 8 years old. So
Hmm.
that was kind of rough for me. Um, real tough for me,
Hmm.
me and my siblings.
Yeah.
Um, but God, I believe God had His hand on me from that point forward because
Hmm.
my life will go through a lot of different things, a lot of different struggles, and a lot of ups and downs that I can honestly look back and say I don't even know how I made it without
Hmm.
God. But
Hmm.
God definitely had His hedge of protection around me, so I'm very grateful for that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, after my mom passed, I pretty much had to grow up quick.
Yeah.
I grew up apart from my siblings, so um, that was kind of tough because I was all by myself. But
Hmm.
you know, I managed to figure it out.
So do you feel like if if you had to go back and do life over, do you think you would be the same man today had you had your mom?
I actually don't. I don't think I would be the same man because to give a little to try to paint the picture. Like I was raised in inner city Baltimore,
Hmm.
West Side. It was a drug drug infested area. Drug dealers on the corner. You got you know we call them the crackheads
Yeah.
or fiends
Right, right, right.
walking around. You got drug needles on the ground and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I was in an environment that wasn't really conducive for success. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I feel like if my mom was still living, I would have kind of fell into the quote unquote role of a corner boy
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
being in the streets. So
Right,
I don't think my life would be nowhere near the same as
right.
it is now. So
Yeah, yeah.
as an adult looking back, I can say that I believe everything happens for a reason,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yes.
I'm grateful for the life that I have now.
And
Truly.
even as I think about it, and I'm pretty sure many people can relate to this, especially who has gone through. Um, I think that in the Bible it talks about suffering produces character, and character produces perseverance.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I got older that I really grasp that that's so true. Although God won't shield us from everything that we go through, um once again He can take what the enemy meant for evil and turn it for good, which
Absolutely.
we are both living witnesses to that being true.
Hmm.
um I also think, I don't know if you had mentioned the part about you growing up in foster care and stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah. So
but
I was going to get to that,
oh,
but
okay, I'm sorry,
no,
baby.
it's all love. It's all
But
love.
even with I would say, being his, wife now, and just him sharing with me, with him growing up in foster care, oftentimes I look at my husband like, man, you clean, and you're not afraid to clean. A lot of men, especially black men, they don't, want to clean. And even just your discipline that you have. On the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that it, came from, the foster care.
Yeah, I think because not only was I in foster homes,
Mm-hmm.
I was in a lot of group homes,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not sure if anyone knows or anybody out there, whoever
Mm-hmm.
whoever has been in group homes, it's a pretty structured environment.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up at a certain time, you make up your bed, you make sure your room clean, you eat breakfast, you go do your go to school, come home, have an afternoon snack, blah blah blah. So it was pretty much structured. So
Mm-hmm.
all the group homes that I was in as a child kind of picked up these little things and having a
Mm-hmm.
structured kind of mindset. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So
Yep.
that's what I guess where the discipline came in from,
Mm-hmm.
like cleaning and making sure your bed's
Right.
made and
Right.
your
Right.
room's clean and
Mm-hmm.
just so I would say that being in those environments did kind of shape me to be more disciplined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's like, especially nowadays, we hear so many, you know, bad things, especially about, growing up in, group homes,
Yeah, man.
and even in foster care. But I definitely see where God, has pruned you, although it probably hurt it going through,
Mm-hmm.
but now that you're older, and how it made you how it has truly made you a good father,
Mm-hmm.
truly made you a good husband. Are you perfect? No.
Mm-hmm.
But it just even goes to show, let's say, for anybody who wants to get married, that, yeah, I'll say, when you came to me as my husband,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, from day one, I was already hooked, but
Hooked. She like this little chocolate thing.
oh
You
boy,
feel me?
please. But I was already hooked. And once I had truly came into agreement with God, okay, God, this is my husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were some things that God had to work out of you,
Right,
and
right.
based on your past, your
Mm-hmm.
trauma, you having lack of mother, having lack of father,
Mm-hmm.
same as I.
Mm-hmm.
But God, this is the thing. We don't have to have it all figured out. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to have it all figured
We
out,
don't.
because why? God, that's our whole point of us needing him,
Right.
But it's just so beautiful when you have two people. And actually we get asked this question a lot, as far as both of us not having our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, then, our kids, that's a whole nother story. We get to that another day. But so many people look at us in such, I would say, just
Amazement.
amazement. Yeah.
Really.
Amazement of, how do you guys make it without parents? And
God.
actually, yeah, seriously, God.
God,
And I feel
man.
like I never thought about that,
No.
I never thought about it. I would say one day I was working at the hospital, and a girl was there with her parents, and they was asking me about my parents. And I said, oh, well, at the time my dad was alive, but I said, pretty much like my mom, she didn't raise me, but my dad, the child, that's a whole nother story. We'll get to that down the
Don't
line.
worry.
But
Don't worry. We got
we got to
some
say
more
the juice.
episodes
Yes,
coming,
yes,
man. Don't worry. We're gonna unpack all of that.
yes. But people, mouth hit the floors when they see how we make it. You know what I'm saying? Without parents. And to me, it's just like, well, what do you mean? Like, it's crazy how when you have to adapt to something, and that's been your world, for majority of your young adult life, and
Mm-hmm.
getting older. And it's like, to me, it looks weird, as crazy as it sounds, when people do have their parents,
Mm-hmm.
um and it's like, to me, of course, it's such a blessing, but this is our world, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's all the reason more why I feel like God joined us together,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and I'm so grateful that he did. you know it helped me to give you grace, in certain areas, because I know
Mm-hmm.
how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one thing I'll mention with us both, that we didn't know how to fight, and every one's life, you either, when I say fight, I'm talking about, when it comes to a relationship.
Yeah.
And it don't even necessarily have to be between husband and wife. It can be between friends, it can be between, parents, or even just fighting for yourself, being an advocate for yourself, I feel like our lives, we didn't know how to fight because we had nobody who truly fought for us,
Ooh, say that again.
Nobody who truly fought for us.
Man.
And then it's like when people fought for us, it wasn't out of love, but then you have those who flight, and that was us. We flight, when things
Yeah.
get hard, we out.
We
And
out.
I would
Yes.
say for me,
Yes.
that was one thing seriously that I had, with every situation I would flee because it did not feel safe, it did not feel welcoming, and I guess that was just my way of, advocating for myself, is to flight, but then it comes a point in time where God say, no, it's time to fight, and that's something that we had to learn to do in our marriage, was to fight,
Right.
In the beginning, when things were rough, we was ready to, not, well, yeah, separate ways, you know what I'm saying? But that was based off of our past,
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes you don't necessarily sit down with a child and tell them, oh, this is how you fight or flight, but based off of your parents' actions, your child will adapt this fight or flight response,
Right.
So based off of, what we saw, that's where we adapted that flight response,
But I also think that what's important is that I think the difference maker was between when it comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at a certain point when we were ready to flight,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Nah, you ain't going nowhere."
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
He was like, "Nah, you gonna
yeah.
stay right here." You know what I mean? And I think that
Mm-hmm.
right there was a difference maker. Me seeing somebody that's really like, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
fight for this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
relationship or this marriage or what have you.
Right.
And to me, I feel like that's a big difference maker because you actually feel like somebody actually cares about
Mm-hmm.
you
And
and
you
cares.
know what? Let me say this as well, because initially it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that someone who truly loved me, wasn't trying to abuse me, whether verbally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, um, wait a minute, God, this feels different. It makes you want to fight.
Right.
So that that is something I feel like God had to teach me, and once I got to a point where like, this is my man, you know what I'm saying? That's where it's like, okay, like, I have to fight, and it felt so weird because once again, all my life I had to flight, Light, right? So it's just truly amazing that God will show you how to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm so grateful that he did. And like I said, with our past, it prepared us for a time such as this.
Yeah.
And not only that, I definitely feel like we can teach our boys, and growing up, my mom, she wasn't married, my dad, he was married, but it wasn't a good example of how marriage should be. My grandmother, she was never married, so I didn't really have, I do have one aunt and uncle, who I love their marriage,
I didn't have anything. I had
yeah,
no example at all. At
so
all of a
like, right,
successful
marriage,
I
exactly.
didn't even see my neighbors, my
Mm-hmm.
friends at school, no one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you don't really have a blueprint.
You don't have a blueprint.
And
No.
we're trying to break these generational curses or what
Mm-hmm.
have you, and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
do things differently.
Yeah.
And
And I definitely feel like we have been doing a good job as far as with breaking generational curses. And it can be hard, especially when you didn't have a blueprint, as Papa said. And and then even when you did have a blueprint and it wasn't the ideal situation, or even let's say this, it wasn't what God intended. So trying to unlearn those unhealthy habits that you saw, that you heard, you know what I'm saying? And not bring that into your marriage, not bring that into your parenting. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, God, if there's anybody listening, okay, if you truly consult with God on how to move, where to go, where not to go, who to be in cahoots with, who not to be in cahoots with, He will show you, and that's
Absolutely.
literally what He did for us. He showed us,
Yep.
and I think another beautiful part is, because we had so much, somewhat friends and family back in our hometowns, um I truly feel like, let's just say, had we been back in Rochester, we wouldn't have the marriage that we have today.
No.
We wouldn't have the life that we have today.
Yeah.
um Also, because I feel like, coming from Rochester, and I think a lot of girls can attest to this, we could be a little hard, you know what I'm saying? We can, no soft girl era at all. That just was not the thing, Miss Independent, want to do everything on your own. God had to humble me. He had to humble me.
But another thing is too is like when you take myself out of
Mm-hmm.
my environment, away from
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, and take you from Rochester,
Mm-hmm.
and we're here together, we have to stick together.
We
We have
stick
to figure it
together.
out together.
Yes,
It's not like,
yes.
oh, I can run to my sister house and or you can run to your family house, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're here together, and we don't
Yeah.
have many friends or family here, so it's like
Yep.
we got to figure it out. So I think
Yeah.
that helped our marriage, our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We had to lean on one another for support. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
So,
Yep. And with that, God stripped away pride. God stripped
mm,
away ego.
mm,
God stripped away materialistic things.
mm,
God stripped away idolizing.
mm-hmm,
And I'm grateful that He did. I ain't gonna hold you. Listen, going through it, it did not feel good.
right.
And also too, God stripped us away from a whole lot.
Right.
I'm telling y'all, God broke us down to the very, very bottom. We're gonna get into that in
We're
later
gonna get into that
episodes, but
too.
God stripped us down to the very, very bottom, because a lot of times you don't see what you have, especially when, like, I'll say this, trying to look out of a window,
Mm-hmm.
and you got so many things that's, blocking your view to see that very thing that you need to see, that's how it was for me back in Rochester, with my friends that I had, my little bit of family that I had, the money that I was making, the job that I had, I couldn't see him. And honestly, I felt like, I didn't need no man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all
Because
right.
I felt like
You
I didn't
need
need
me.
one. Back then I didn't know. I knew what I knew, and I knew I didn't need no man, and it was just plain and simple, right? But God took all that away. Took away the money, took away the family, took away my job, and baby, He even took away my beauty. We'll get to that in another later episode. But He had to strip me naked. He had to strip me naked. Also, so I can humble myself for Him,
Mm-hmm.
and especially so I don't think of myself here and think of Him here,
Mm-hmm.
based off of, let's just say, money, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or even family, a lot of times, oh yeah, I'm not gonna ask you because I'm gonna go ask, let's say, my SBF, but no, God took all of that away, and let's just say, whether He here or I'm here and He's here, um I think I said that wrong, but anywho, you get it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like God needs to bring it here, equally yoked,
Right. Right.
So if you got all this, you know what I'm saying, and He got all this, or this here, or vice versa, how can y'all be equally yoked?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
off balance. So God had to truly bring us here, and once again, it does not feel good. So to anybody going through, whether you plan on getting married, whether you engage, whether God tells you, this is your husband, this is your wife, but there are things I got to do in you, let me tell you, pay attention, and ask the Lord what it is that He's trying to reveal to you, so that you can be the wife or husband that God needs you to be for your person,
Right. Right.
because God don't want to put you in no marriage and you prideful, don't know
Right.
how to be quiet, or you don't even know how to hear from God, better yet, so yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is very important. Like I said, nobody taught us these things. It was truly having to go through that. God showed us, my daughter, I need you here. You know, my daughter, I need you to shed these things. My daughter, I know you had more here, but here you're gonna have less. But what was subtracted from you through this marriage, it will be added on to you, you
Right.
know. So I'm grateful that he added on to me through my marriage, and that I'm not carrying so much being married, you know. And to each is, everybody have their own thing as far as what they want to do in their marriage. If they want to, you know, work 3 4 5 jobs, you know, and be married, you know, to you that works. But for me, and in our point in life right now, that's not, you know, where God has me. And I remember before I had moved from Rochester, you know, one thing that God had told me is that I won't have to work as hard as I used to work. And I did not like that at first, but I'm just thankful that I have a man who I can trust to lead me. Even if I was to lose my sight, I trust that he can lead me, you know, even in wilderness. And I know that he knows the name who to call on, and that's Jesus Christ, you
Right.
know, to help carry this family. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yes. So
So
mhm.
we the podcast is called Faithful Conversations. So what we
Mhm.
hope to get from this podcast and hope to give you all is conversations that are faithful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
conversations about God, you know.
Mhm.
And I think the basis of this podcast is going to be surrounded by God, you know.
Mhm.
And you know, from that we can talk about kids, we can talk about career, we can
Yes.
talk about marriage, we can talk
Mhm.
about relationships, we can talk
Mhm.
about
Conviction.
convictions, we can talk about following
Yes.
God. How do you
Mhm.
follow God? Where do you start?
Mhm. Mhm.
How do you get to that point?
Mhm.
What things you have to give up to
Oh
follow God?
yes. Yes.
We can get into all that, but we hope that from this podcast and through our testimony and our
Mhm.
conversations that we'll have, that
Mhm.
we can help you guys.
Yep.
Somebody that's going through the same things that we're going through. Somebody
Mhm.
that's battling different situations that you know you might hear us talk about.
Mhm.
So that's what Faithful Conversations is about.
Yes.
It's about just being having conversations that are faithful.
Yep.
You know, simple as that.
Having conversations that are faithful, and also to like I remember God, two things God told us, that he will bless us in our vulnerability. So that's the number one reason why we're here, because God called us to be here, you know. God has been way too good for us to be quiet.
Right.
And it's like I want nothing more than to, like I said, truly help people. We don't take for granted at all, especially when people who have gone through the things that we have gone through and they did not make it out. They did not make it out emotionally. They did not make it out physically, you know. So we don't take that for granted. We don't take it light, you know. So we definitely want to, you know, be in position to the place that God called us to be.
Absolutely.
And another thing that God had told us is to live in our truth. So we come here, you know, to speak truth, you know, and once
Complete
it,
transparency.
yeah, complete transparency. And you know, we just pray that, you know, those who have ears that can hear, we truly pray that it will unlock some things and break that ground, you know, that you have been trying to break probably for years, you know. And just shed light and help to break generational curses, because we see what God has done in our life, and we want him to do the same for everyone else, you know. We, you know, pray and we partner with God, you know, to be Holy Spirit led and come here full, because you know our cups are full, you know. We don't have, you know, everything, you know, but our cups are full,
We
you
have what
know.
we need.
We have what we need, and we just thank God for that. So I'm just hoping that out of you know, with doing this YouTube channel, I'm praying that I can even grow more in my relationship with Christ. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
me as
praying,
well.
yeah, you know, I'm praying that others that we help will come to Christ, you know. So and I just, you know, for my husband, you know, y'all, it's like to see this man grow, to see him come from a place of, can I be honest, baby?
Yeah.
A liar and a manipulator. A liar
Hey,
and a
say
manipulator.
it. I mean, hey, it's the truth,
Yes.
man. Complete
Yeah.
transparency here, man.
Yep. Complete
We're gonna be real,
transparency.
man.
Yeah. And I had my dirt too. Y'all, I had my dirt too, okay?
That's why we said on the last episode we had, we're human.
Human.
We're not perfect by any means.
So if I pinch him,
Ah,
yeah, it hurt,
come
right?
on now.
So if I pinch him, it hurt, right?
Yeah.
So we human, y'all, you know, but
And let's be honest, most men out here, man, we are liars and manipulators,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
let's just be 100% honest,
Mm-hmm.
man. And
Yep.
that's the truth of the matter. And that's why we having these conversations
Yeah.
to
Yep.
bring it to the table and talk about what really was really going on and what
What's really
really needs
going
to
on?
happen
Yeah.
to stop that.
Absolutely.
Change the narrative of not just a black man, but just men in general. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to be. I want all of us to be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any men that's watching this right now, I want you to really consider, you know, what what you need to change on the
Mm-hmm.
inside. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's
And
pretty
us as
much it.
women too, you know, we baby, like I said, I didn't think I was controlling. God told me I was controlling. And I'm like, God, where, how, when, why, how, you know? But
Facts.
you know, he taught me how to be quiet. I guess I didn't know how to be quiet, but you know, in God's eyes, he saw that. But through once again God bringing me to him, because y'all, God saved me first, you know, and I had to
Mhm.
have patience, you know. I had to look at this man like, you know what, I used to once be that, so let me not rush you, let me not judge you, you know.
I think that's a key. That's a
Yeah.
real big um piece to it all is just
Mm-hmm.
having patience. And
Yeah. Yeah.
because sometimes it might not look promising, but I believe that if you have patience and faith in
Mm-hmm.
God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everything will happen the way it should happen.
Yeah,
You
very
know,
much
so
so.
yeah,
Very much so. So, but yes, guys, once again, Jesus is calling. He is
absolutely.
calling. So pick up the hotline, baby, because guess what? You know, it's like there's gonna come a time where you're gonna be on that boat or you're gonna be in the water, as our
Yeah,
Pastor Craig say, you know. So,
yeah.
but we
You don't
love
want to be in the water.
you
I
don't
tell you
want to
that,
be in the water.
especially if you can't swim.
If you can't swim, baby.
I mean, it really don't matter if you can swim either,
Right,
because
right,
shit,
right.
water
Yes.
gonna swallow you up. But
Yeah, and
you
you're
don't
gonna
want
get
to be in the water.
tired. That's the
Yes,
thing. You're going to
yes,
get
yes,
tired. Why not get tired and surrender? You
yes.
know what I'm saying? So but y'all have a blessed night. We thank you for viewing. We pray that, you know, whomever this helps, you know, that you would like and subscribe and
Absolutely.
share.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like, subscribe,
We
and
thank you.
share.
We thank
Yes.
you. Please
We
do.
thank you. But yes, we love you guys, and we hope to just continue on this journey together. And buckle up, because it's going to be a fun ride, but it's going to be a ride of pruning, learning, and growing.
And transformation.
Transformation, absolutely. Have a blessed
All right.
night.
Good night. Love y'all.
Yes.
Peace.